Hey everyone, and welcome to my supplementary Murky egg guide, where we will cover more in-depth egg placements and their effects on teamfights. Now in most cases, when playing Murky for the first time, a Murky will generally put their egg behind the base gates, as it is technically the safest place. Enemy teams will have to dedicate time and resources to either pushing down the fort or sneaking behind to get his egg. However, when contesting objectives, placing Murky's egg in riskier locations can be far more beneficial. While it's not advisable to place the egg directly on top of a teamfight objective, as the enemy team will see it and kill it without fear of retribution, placing the egg close by in grasses will be the most efficient course of action, as the enemy team will have to push past Murky's team to assault the egg. This allows Murky the ability to respawn multiple times and fight or potentially save teammates who are retreating on each successive life. The strategic value of this far outweighs the safety of placing the egg behind the gate. There's also positioning to consider as well when placing Murky's egg, as Murky will want the highest potential routes of access to the enemy team possible, as running through his base's gates may run him straight into the nearest tank, who can interrupt Murky and keep him at bay. Learning the spawn rate and locations of each objective on a map, and also how your team will generally approach each objective, is just as important as learning the character itself, as planning your egg placement will change the course of the game. In each game, consider how far away you want to put your egg from the objective, how long your allied team can survive without your assistance, and how fast the enemy team can collect the objective. By having one single misplaced egg, your team can collapse and be run down before your return, so always try to manage the risk versus the reward on egg placement. Also, when deciding whether or not to fight for an objective, consider the advantage that spawn egg gives Murky of being worth 0.25 of a kill. This allows Murky to die up to 4 times to get an objective. If Murky's team trades 1 Murky death to get a kill and an objective, that is a huge boon, and as that number increases to 2, 3, and 4, they're still gaining that boon as they have secured the objective. Even if Murky dies 4 times and barely does not achieve the objective, he has only given his team the deficit of 1 hero kill. Now, personally, I have had people message me after games, not with malicious intent, mind you, but to help instruct me on how to better play Murky, and generally those messages have followed the theme of, you died a lot, it was really hard to win the game as you were dying frequently, giving the opposing team an experience advantage. To which I've always replied, how many times did I die? Did any opposing team members die, and did we secure the objective? And if the math panned out to 4 deaths for 1 hero kill and the objective, I would always argue, well, we have an objective advantage from that, and this can confuse some players as they don't understand how his experience mechanic works, which is completely understandable. As a final bit of advice for egg placement, find locations that allow you to return as fast as possible. Consider 10 to 20 seconds return time, including death, as a good starting point. Also consider movement patterns of your opponents. The most generous egg placements are always checked first, and specific characters like Li Ming enjoy shooting over walls, so they may walk into corners and discover your eggs. The very final piece of advice that I can give is hold off on aggressive egg placements until the midpoint of the game or near the end of the game when you're assaulting the opponent's base. By placing your egg on the opposing side of the map, there is no resistance to the enemy team, which means they can walk in and kill your egg, and Murky's team generally will not be able to help. Placing Murky's egg on the opposing side of the map is only a good idea when using it in conjunction with objectives that push. For example, if Murky didn't get in the Dragon Knight, or the Plantera monster, or the Battlefield of Eternity's Immortal. Oh, and one last piece of advice. Every time Murky dies, and 5 seconds have passed, If he shows up in the line of sight of an opponent or a creep wave, the player has telegraphed to the opposing team where Murky's egg is located, which will aid the opposing team in hunting it down. So taking curved paths if you're returning to a lane, or just simply delaying a moment and coming into line of sight from a different angle, can confuse the opposing team, possibly buying Murky more time to place his egg, or making it riskier for the opposing team to hunt his egg. By doing this, Murky players can sometimes mind game their opponents, which can be fun, as they can catch assassins running around in the woods with an octograb and kill them before their team can assist them. Beyond all that, there's not really much more I can say about placing an egg. I really hope this helps, and if you like this, please pop me a like. I need to know whether or not I should continue doing guides. Please check out my more in-depth Murky guide for skills and talent information. And if you have any suggestions on characters or mechanics that you would like me to cover, I'm going to be covering a couple more on HOTS in the future. And if there's a game you would like me to cover, please let me know. I welcome all feedback and criticism. See you later.